Da. Answer that later. Alright. Who do I feel like drawing? Da. You know what? Let's give Raz new artwork so I can use it for the card game. I need to pick up on those. Alright, so let me grab Raz. And I'll put her on screen just so we have something else to look at. And just need a decent pose. As soon as my drive wakes up. Let's see. Randomly pick you, see what we got. Not what I need. Oh yeah. She is drunk. In some of her stuff, so I think using a drunk pose would be useful. There we go. All right. What did I use for Kiwi? Those are maybe I won't use that, but let's draw Raz anyway, it's been a while. Or this could be her support card. Hey Frost. Yeah. Thinking of drawing both like standard art and card art that I can use. Because I need to start making more cards for the next set. Does this one need fixing? I think this one's fine. I might mess with it later if there's something missing from it. We'll see what happens. But yeah, so far there's only like 12 cards made for their set, so I need to make more so I can start putting it out there. Maybe I'll put her in a more like dancing-ish or rhythm-ish position since she's supposed to be partying. Fix up the rest of her once we get the shape figured out. Hello. Yeah, that would be funny if Becky could outdrink Raz. But Raz has too much an advantage. Unless I just choose to bend the rules. Yeah, she probably could be secretly a type of god. Whether or not I actually make that a thing is up to time. Could be done for a joke, could be just thrown in as an Easter egg. Oh yeah, I should probably draw her ears first. See how much of this I can get done. Should be a little bit over. But yeah, I'm like halfway done with the Becky pick that I'm working on. I should save this over here. Throw this in this folder. It's easier. Stream art. Raspberry. There we go. Do-do. Well, yeah, like this is gonna be its own artwork. It's not like a update or anything. And I've drawn Raz before in other art, but this one, I'm either gonna use this one for her support card, or I can use some of the older artwork that I've made of her for the support cards. Oh yeah, I've. How did I draw that one? Did I draw that one by hand? I don't think I did. I don't even remember if I drew that one by hand. I don't think I did. I think that was when I was trying to get used to shit. When did I make this? Raz, where are you? When was this made? Because that'll tell me a lot. Created 2020. Why does that not sound right? Oh, 2019. So I had my tablet, but I didn't have... Because I'm pretty sure I got the screen in 2016? Where's Marissa? Because she was the first artwork I made using the tablet. Black Circus, Marissa, there you are. She was made in 2018. Modified. I could have sworn I got it in 2016. What did I get in 2016? I don't know. Yeah, just me getting better. Now I'm just trying to think, what did I do in 2016? I think I just started Creamfield in 2016. Let me see real quick before I continue. It just feels off, like something's wrong with that statement. Where's Raz? Like, where's her Photoshop file? Yeah, because her art was made in Photoshop, meaning that I scanned her artwork back then. Because I couldn't draw well in Photoshop. Because I don't think I had my... I don't think I have the tablet that I have right now. Yeah, this is 2019, but I had that one picture in 2018, so maybe I was still... Maybe I still was getting used to it, or I only drew her artwork physically and then scanned it. But somehow that doesn't seem right. I think I did draw it on a tablet, or tried at least. But just something feels off about that. Maybe I have it over here. Here's their artwork. like their line art. Let me zoom in. Judging by the way this is, yeah, this was back when I scanned in their artwork still. Because I think Marissa was the first time that I drew on the tablet, but I still had artwork of the Creamfield girls physically. Because looking at their line art, you can kind of tell based on how I drew certain parts. Like, I'll just bring in Kiwi as the example. So, like, for Kiwi, one, the background is fucking bright as hell. So, that's one tell. And then when we're looking at how I did the line art, there's, like, a lot of light, like, lightish strokes. And these are just, like, strokes that make more sense in with a pen, because I would draw with a pen physically. So yeah, I think I might have did like fixes in digital, like I might have erased something that didn't need to be there and do like light changes, but this was before I fully drew. Because if we look at, especially since her file or their files are Photoshop and I did not draw in Photoshop, I just colored and shaded. So if we look at Marissa's file, there you are. Yeah, Marissa's is in Clip Studio, and she was the first one that I tried drawing in. So let me just turn off a bunch of her stuff. So with Marissa, you can see a big difference in how I do in the strokes. And this could also be like just because the pixel size is different, but you can see a big difference of how I drew with Kiwi and how I drew her, just by this the way the lines are. So like, let me grab Kiwi one more time, just to put them side by side. Extra, where's Kiwi? There you are. So if we put them side by side, just the way the lines are and how there's like this like a little bit of blur or smudging or whatever you want to call it for the edges and stuff like that is just something that would look more consistent with pen strokes for me, whereas this is a lot more clean. And even though I still draw rough style, like I don't try to like, you know, sketch it out and then go over it in lines and try to smooth it out and all that, there's just still a clear difference. Oh, I hated using a pencil to draw, because the way I would draw, it would just cause too much smudging, and it annoyed the hell out of me. And so I took it upon myself to just draw with a pen. And then sometimes the pen I would use would like ooze out too much ink, and so there'd be like ink blots every once in a while. So like maybe there might be some around here. I don't know. Well, if there was, I probably did my best to make up for it. So probably like maybe like here or maybe somewhere over here or something like that. But I would get like some tissue, and I would fold it up multiple times, and then I would staple the edges together so that way it wouldn't unfold. And I would just wipe the excess ink on the tissue paper. And I had like one tissue paper that lasted me like months because I would do that, and people would and I remember in school people would ask me what was that for, and I would say like, oh, that's just to wipe the excess ink, because that way it wouldn't cause smudges when I drew. So that's what I did in high school. I just said fuck it to pencils, drew solely with pen, colored with Crayola color pencils that were only like $7 for a pack of 50, maybe 10 at the most. I have no idea how much they are nowadays, but yeah, that's what I did. And like, let me find an example of an older artwork done. You always do pencil first. I just can't. It annoyed the living hell out of me. Old work. Okay. What's a character I can use that's color pencil? That's a good one. Sure, fine. We'll use Viro. Which one? I guess it doesn't really matter. Still gets the point across. So here's color pencil. So let me bring Kiwi over here. So we got Marissa, we got Kiwi, and then this is what I did back in 2005 with color pencil. So see, you can see that I drew it in pen, and then just went over it, and then just, you know, colored it in color pencil the best I could. So yeah, that was me throughout high school, and for a good majority of my life until, because like I would color digitally, but like I had like a really bad tablet. So let me grab another example of that. Like, I did my best back then, so I can only do so much. Let me check in here first. Do I have any decent examples of what I did with the tablet? Because I didn't have like the tablet that I use nowadays. I had like one of those ones where you put it on your lap and you drew, and you had to like look at the screen to figure out where the hell you were, and I hated that with passion. But that was the best I could do back then. I guess these are the best ones I can find to represent that. Sure. When was this one made? 2013. Yeah, that was definitely when I was doing that. Alright, so here's Essence. So this is when I would still draw the picture with a pen, scan it in, and then color it in Photoshop. And this was basically the best I could, like, I mean, I'm sure there's better examples than this, but you can tell a clear difference between then and now. Because with Marissa's, bring her back over a bit. So let's squish that, squish this, squish this. So with Marissa, turning all these back on, there's just like a clear difference of what I was trying to do. And granted, she's mostly white, so you're not going to see much deep detail. Same thing for Essence, but just a distinct difference between then and now. And again, like Marissa, her artwork was done in 2018, I think that's what it said. And if we take something more recent, like we'll use a stream art. Stream art. We'll bring in Joanne. So with Joanne, Jesus Christ, there's so many fucking examples on this page. Alright, so Marissa, move over. You, move over. You, move over. You, go over here. And now we have Joanne. So some differences here. I gotten a little bit better. Still much room for improvement, but I'm trying. Hello, hello. I do it because, like most artists, I'm a perfectionist and do want to fix it before I'm sad. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm just, it just when I was just younger, it was just like, okay, so when I was really young, like I don't know, like 5 or maybe 7. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you liked it. I had fun with that one. But yeah, when I was like, I want to say 6 or 7, I still have this as a core memory. I was drawing whatever it was I was drawing, but I was eating Cheetos, and I hated the fact that I had to like keep cleaning my hands from the Cheeto dust or whatever because it would get on the paper if I didn't or whatever. And due to being annoyed by that, I actually took it upon myself to no longer eat Cheetos for like years. And this is me coming to that conclusion when I was like 6 or 7. So, so I just decided to stop eating Cheetos for like years, and I had like a really, I don't even know if it's a bad habit or just an interesting habit of constantly keeping my hands clean. So that way, when I drew, there wasn't like a problem, and I would do this with like everything. So like anytime I used my hands to eat something, I would always like immediately keep my hands clean and try to avoid anything that just made too much of a mess. And this happens even now. And so yeah, I did that, and then when I got older, pencils became annoying to me, and that's why I moved on to just drawing solely with pen from the start, and then wiping the excess ink onto a piece of tissue paper, and then kept that around till like throughout high school, and then learning digital stuff in college. I didn't have a Wacom tablet like I do now, but I had like a cheap physical or the tablet that you put on your lap and you draw with that way and all that, which I could not for the life of me draw characters with that damn thing because there was just such a disconnect between me and the screen that I still stuck with just drawing physically and scanning it in, and that's why we have the picture of Raz and all that, and Kiwi and all that. And then finally in like 2018, I guess that was when I got the Wacom tablet. I got that, and then I think I bought Clip Studio Paint around that time as well, and that was me practicing that with Marissa because she was the first picture I drew with it. And then went on from there. So I stopped drawing. I mean, I can still draw physically, but I haven't drawn physically too often. Like maybe once every few months or so, I'll draw something physically, but that's usually because I'm not home or something. But yeah, that's how I got to this point. Recently I had an issue where you accidentally dropped a cake on a fresh paper before I drew on it and tried to save it with the stain. Yeah, I mean, don't worry. There was a time where getting printer paper to draw on was a luxury for me, and there was a time where, for some reason, when I lived in apartments, me and my mom, we would get home from like work and school and all that, and for some reason, there was like this area that someone dropped like just a shit ton of printer paper for whatever reason, and this happened like almost like a week or so, maybe longer. And we would just pick up whatever fresh paper we could find, and I would use that to draw with. So even if it had like a little bit of a dirty smudge, I still would use it and try to save it and just draw with it because I didn't care. Or I would use like the backside if it was still usable. So there was a time where printer paper was a luxury for me. So I totally feel your pain. I think that was around the same time when I stopped. No, it wasn't around the same time I stopped eating Cheetos. That was a few years before. But yeah, there was a time where that was a luxury. So yeah, anyway, so that was my journey between drawing with pencils to keeping my hands clean and going digital and all that and whatnot, and color pencil stuff and blah blah blah. So yeah, maybe I'll make like a picture or something of just like the evolution between me using a pencil. Although I don't think there's any pictures of me using or I have anything of me drawing with a pencil anymore, because like I came to that conclusion way early in life. But if I do find any, I'll try to scan it or something. But yeah, that was my journey. All right, let's close all this. Get a sketchbook. Yeah. I never really... Do I even have a sketchbook? I mean, I had the ones that I needed in college, but I don't think I ever actively went out of my way to get a sketchbook. I just used printer paper and just saved everything in, or just kept everything in laminated, or put in like sleeves, just because I had a folder for it. But anyway, yeah, that was me. Oh, the ones with the textures, yeah, that would annoy me. I think I got that like once. I don't think it was a sketchbook though. I think it was just like something for class. But it was just such a weird feeling. Burn the rest. I think eventually I'll try to scan and save all of my stuff, because there's plenty of characters I have yet to scan. Did I see your question? No, I did not. It did not show up. I have like 2 chat screens open and it didn't show up in either. And then, of course, there's me drawing without too many construction lines, so enjoy that madness. I remember people asking me, like, how do you do that? And I was like, years of practice of me saying I don't want to do it, and then I just made up my own way of doing it. Will you draw the rear view of Kitsune on all fours sometime? I want to at some point. I almost did for the set, but then I decided to draw the other character. I almost drew that for Becky, of her being on all fours with her ass to the screen, but I was like, her tail. I didn't like her tail being in the way of her body, so I didn't put Kitsune, or not Kitsune, Becky in that pose. I was thinking of putting Becky's sister in that pose since she doesn't have any jarring features that would get in the way. So I might do that with her. It's either her or maybe Becky's mom. Why not? But yeah, maybe in the future I'll do that with Kitsune. I don't have a problem with it. I need to draw more ass anyway. I need to draw more dick and I need to draw more ass. I also need to draw more sex. I haven't drawn too much sex scenes. I need to do more. Whose fault is that my anatomy is a pain to draw? It actually wasn't too bad with the picture I'm drawing right now. It's not so much drawing her; it's the coloring that I fear. But I've gotten better at coloring her, so it's not as annoying anymore. If I were to ignore putting her textures on her, she'd probably be a little bit easier. But since I'm a stickler about those details, it's just something I will constantly do. Night forest background with a full moon. I could see that. Have Kitsune say, fuck it, I'm gonna go fuck some werewolves. So I'm gonna go fuck some werewolves, I'll be back in the morning. and her boyfriend will be like, alright. Sitting there not giving a shit. Meanwhile, her other persona would be like, what do you mean we're gonna go fuck some werewolves? What's happening here? That would be funny. Maybe I'll make like an art set specifically for kids, or like a short set for Kitsune for some shit like that. I'm still debating if I want to open commissions again. Mostly it's just a time sink. That's the only real reason why I haven't done is that, and sometimes or before I was getting annoyed by the repetitiveness of what I was being commissioned to draw, so I just got bored. If I do open, I have no idea when. You already know what you'd have me draw. Let's make this bigger. Just a lot of artwork was just samey. It was mostly because all I would get for like a good chunk of the time was just weight gain art. Which again, I'm not opposed to it, but I like variety. And so I was just getting bored, and it was making me get into the mindset of dreading working on commissions because it was starting to feel more like a chore or a job. And so it just made me want to do it less. And so I figured if I just stop, take a big long break from it, maybe I'll come back to it in the future, which I have a couple times. But I'm very scarce on doing commissions nowadays. And I'm just better off working on my own stuff or making art sets to put out of whatever it is I want to draw. It just makes more sense. That's fine, you don't have to like weight gain art. I like all kinds of art. I just like to change it up every once in a while. That would be fun. If I did make a Kitsune set, it would likely have Foxclaw in it in some way. Likely Boning her, but if I was going to draw them in another position or whatever, probably be something romantic or whatever. But yeah, I just like changing it up. That's usually why I try to spread out when I draw weight gain art. But in the recent sets, I was like, damn, I drew weight gain stuff like 3 times in a row. Excuse me, 3 times in a row. Better change it up. So I drew Kitsune and Helen. Because I was like, let's change this up. We've been drawing a little bit too much fat. So it'll probably be like 1 or 2 more art sets before I do another weight gain related one. And then of course there's always Fat Lovers Club, so that's going to happen at least once a month. I want to try to make that happen twice a month or something, but depends on what else I'm doing. Yeah, that's why for now it's only being kept to once a month. Hello. But yeah, you're right. Better to better to stay focused on the current stuff. Getting ready to wind down on Secret soon. I was going to work on oh my god, why am I blanking on her name? Guela's comic, but I think we should take a break from the weight gain stuff. So I might do god damn it, I'm horrible with names. What's her name? Where are you? Lizzie, there we go. So we might likely do Lizzie's comic next, because she was originally supposed to be the start of Secrets, and then Guela took over, but then Caitlyn took over. I'm debating if I want to put it up to a vote for certain storylines, but at the same time, I know my audience and I know the bias of certain characters if I were to put it up to a poll on stories that I want to do. So I'm kind of refraining from doing that just because I know what the outcome would be. That's the only issue I have with doing polls in some cases, is because unless it's something where I don't care about what the end result would be, there's just no point doing it when I know there's a bias. So that's why I pretty much removed polls for the most part, because it was just always going to be the you-know-what, or it was always going to be anything that had to do with weight gain. Like, if that was part of the choices, that's what it was going to be. And granted, I can always just not put them on the poll, but seems a bit, at least to me, it just seems like I shouldn't have to not put something on something, but there's just no way to make it feel right unless I just straight up don't put them on there. Yeah, it's just better for me to just pick the stories I want to do. So yeah, Lizzie will probably be next, and I will do my best to not overstuff with unnecessary, well, I don't know if unnecessary is the right word, but like lore that is probably not needed for the given story. So I will do my best to not do that anymore. Because personally, I feel, though I liked what I did, I feel Caitlyn's comic is a bit of a failure in terms of both pacing and the content. So to me at least, it's like bottom of the barrel, like not well done. I did get the scenes that I wanted to do for it though. But in terms of like what it is, I don't see it as a success. I'm still enjoying drawing it though, but as what it is, it's just, to me, it's a failure. Yeah, it's mostly just me spending too long establishing where Caitlyn is and how everything ends up happening. Like, I could dumb it down in the future, so that way, if something needs to be explained, it can be explained elsewhere, rather than within the same story. So I'll try to be better about that. But I'm definitely gonna wait until all comics are done before, or like the current comics are done, before I tackle anything else. And if I do try to do multiple comics at a time, I'm gonna work out which one gets more attention and like be more timely with updates. But right now, I think just working on one is better. If I decide to work on another, it'll be like, erratic, like the updates won't be consistent. It'll just be whenever I have time to update it. Yeah. Like, I had already been thinking about it as I was working on it. It's like, yeah, spent way too long establishing the setup for why Caitlyn gets the collar. Too much. Well, once she got the collar and we started having her going on binges, that was like pretty much the idea. But yeah, just too much setup in the beginning. It was mostly just to establish like her reasoning behind wanting to abuse the collar and all that, but some parts of it just kind of fell flat. It's one of those scenarios where it's like you want to establish that a character has a life and has friends, but you also acknowledge that those characters don't do anything for the main character in terms of like where the plot goes, but you just don't want them to just be like a character walking in an empty void type of scenario. So it's kind of like those stories where it's like you have a character, they get into some shenanigans that makes them, go through whatever the events happen. So in this case, weight gain. But like you don't want it to seem like the character had nothing going on beforehand. And like, yeah, you might establish like a basic reasoning of like, oh, they think they're too skinny, or oh, they think they're too fat, or blah 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 blah, whatever reasoning that gets them into the main theme. But at least in my case, I want to establish that they existed before the comic started, type of thing. Like they were already living a life and already had like, their own personal problems and stuff like that. It isn't just like a one and done type of thing. At least that's just how I view it. And sure, there may be comics where, there is a character that just shows up, does the thing, and then it's over. Like there's nothing more that needs to be progressed for that character. Aside from maybe I might have them make a cameo every once in a while. But it's just a way that I view establishing a character for a short story. But I definitely need to pace it better. So I'll pay attention to that in the future. Yeah, true. It's just one of those things where it's like you want to establish that they have, friends and family. It's like one of those things where, like, when you make like a weight gain comic and people want them to just get fat to the point where they can't leave an area anymore and they just want to keep eating. It's like, okay, what were they doing before this point? Do they not have friends and family that would check up on them, type of thing? Is this that mentality that I have for it? I don't want them to just be a character that is isolated 100% of the time. And again, sure, I can make characters that are, but that's not realistic in terms of setting up a world. But again, this could be a me problem where maybe I should treat them in a more isolated manner every so often. So maybe that can be the case. Yeah, it's like that. I want to answer questions before they're asked, type of thing. Yeah, exactly. Like, like if that was the case, it would be like, okay, is she super popular? Is she rich? Is she actually royalty or something like that? It's one of those things where it's like, again, like it's like what Frost said, I want to answer questions before they're asked. But that's also a bit of a detriment because it's like, am I tossing this in somewhere that no, the problem, the actual problem is that I'm putting this information in something that was originally not supposed to have it. Because Secrets was supposed to be a comic where it was supposed to be just dumb fun. There wasn't supposed to be too much thought to it. But I have the bad habit of establishing lore to make it feel like it works in reality. So yeah, I just need to turn my brain off a bit more with future Secret comics and not overly explain, and save that for like mainline stuff that are longer. They're intentionally longer. So yeah, that's what I need to do. For the Secrets comics in the future, I just need to turn my brain off. Have the character just be in um, a isolated scenario. Maybe they might bring up something to hint at something in the past, but nothing I need to dwell on for as long as I did with Caitlyn. Lore junkie, yeah, exactly. So yeah, I just need to be better about it and just learn to turn my brain off. It's like, all right, here's this character. What's their deal? Tentacle porn. All right, cool. Let's go. That is not how that works. Yeah, I just try to treat the characters realistically as best as I can. But this is a lot of a. This is just another learning experience. So. Yeah. So maybe just like 1 or 2 pages, maybe 3 at most, to just establish the character of where they are, where they live, and I guess I'll have to ignore friends until I have a scenario that actually involves them for them to participate, so that way they're not just there. Yeah, I'll have to look at some examples of that in the future, so that way I have a better headspace of it, and then go from there. So again, I'll do better about it. Okay, I need to hold something so that way I can know how the hell this works. Okay, it would work this way. So yeah, it might be one of those things where it's like, focus on the moment, and then in future comics, if other characters are involved, then that's how we establish them. And that's not how that's not how hands work. Yeah. Hello. Yeah, I'll have to think on the lines of that more often. So I'll definitely look at some examples if I need help in that area. If anything good for this to happen with Caitlyn than any other character that has a more that has a little bit more going for them. So she was a good test run. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, this is Raspberry. Sorry, her name is over here. Kinda. Never mind, I see the vision. Doctor Doom poster? No, I haven't. Let me check that out. Are we talking like the movie, or are we talking like for a game or something? According to that, there is no movie poster. The one that's shown was made by a fan. The one that I found. If there's a different one, you can post a link if you're able to. Yeah, I'll have to do something like that. Use more like info cards for characters. So yeah, that's a good idea. I'll have to do that more often. Like I kind of did that with, well, actually not really. I was gonna say I kind of did that with Fat Blake, but not really. All I did was just put their names and ages, and that was kind of it. Everything else was kind of just direct. Good night. Have I heard of Blood Money? Yes. Becky would never fucking sing that. Unless she really knew it annoyed me or something, but she would never sing it. Or maybe if she lost a bet. Oh, I thought you meant like the literal term blood money. No, I haven't heard that. If it's like a song or something, no. No, I haven't heard it. Oh, a game? No, I haven't played it. Or seen it. You too, take care. It's made the video really complicated. You can do it. Push through. Whatever you're drawing, just think of the end result of it being ultra thick. I don't know what you're drawing, but yeah, you know, you can do it. Sometimes it's a struggle to get through procrastination. I do it way more often than I'd like to admit. But you can definitely do it. Actually, I want to keep that. Trying to remember that I might use this for a card, so I'm trying to leave open some areas. Exactly. Think of the Simpson meme, do it for her. Think of that, do it for your art. Her hair's not as complicated as other characters, so I'll do it this way. Nope, Raspberry, just drawing her for possible card art. Or just for fun. Either way it works out. Yes, this would be cherry. It's a different pink character. One of these days I should draw Raspberry wearing Amy Rose's clothes and making them look lewd. Have Raz tease, but like, oh, I see why you wear this. You're hoping for Sonic to see an upskirt, and Amy's like, no, no, that's not why I do wear it. That'd be funny. Or it's like two twins who are short stacks, but they have their hair tied together for whatever reason. Maybe it was like some kind of twin fashion statement. But we already have Black Cherry for that. Well, not for that specifically, but we have Black Cherry already. Oh yeah, I forgot that they were a thing. I've only seen like the first Troll movie because my friend had it when her daughter was watching it. There's 3. I was aware of 2 of them. I didn't know there was a 3rd. Yeah, I can see that. The riders' outfits look really cool. I really wish they would bring those back as just like optional outfits for certain games. Or just more outfits in general for Sonic characters, because they don't really dive into fashion very often, except for the women. I know, I need to do the comic where she hooks up with Mr. Big. I haven't decided on a full name for him just yet, but I'll get there when the time comes. Boy band center. Okay, I think I might have seen some of that from my friend with her daughter, but I didn't watch like the whole thing. I might have seen like a trailer for it or something, but that does sound familiar. Because I think it was supposed to be like Backstreet Boys or NSYNC, one of the two. I want to say Backstreet Boys, but I might be wrong. Bowsette costume. Bowsette costume sounds like something Becky would be wearing. Just toss on the turtle shell and the horns, and Becky's like, "Oh yeah, like I needed any more bullshit on me." I would say it's more likely Raz would take Mr. Big to a rave and just get fucked up. She'd be like, "Hey, you want to get fucked up?" And he's like, "What?" And then they go to a party. And he's like, "I can't believe you talked me into doing this." She's like, "Come on, have some fun." Yeah. I'll try to draw characters doing more stuff like that, just to show off how they are outside of stories and stuff like that, just for fun and all that. Like, Becky's just really self-conscious about dresses, or most outfits. That's why she usually wears the baggy sweatshirt, because it covers most of her and it's pretty loose. Because it's not like she can hide her features, so it's not like she's trying to hide all of it, but she's just like trying to make them less noticeable to the best of her ability. I mean, it's either she wears a fucking tarp over her entire body, or she just, you know, does it in her own way. So punk goth or whatever theme she's around. So she just does it in her own way, but she's still self-conscious about her looks. Like, for the most part, she's over it, but, you know, it's still gonna linger for her. Just because of how she grew up. So it's just gonna be hard for her to just ignore people's comments. Well, she's attractive, but it's more just the comments about her various parts and how odd it is, or whatever rumors people might come up with to try to figure out why she looks that way. And they would probably be right depending on what they say, but she just doesn't want to deal with it anymore. She's like, I already dealt with it as a child, I'm not dealing with it now. And that's why she became an alcoholic. I'll look at it later after stream. I'll probably stop after I'm done with the flats, because I won't have time to do the shading and all that. Oh yeah, I forgot our nose. Shit. Yep, saw that coming. Wrong layer. There we go. Sounds like Katie Kaboom from Animaniacs. Is it Katie Kaboom or is it Kelly Kaboom? Yeah, it was Katie Kaboom. But yeah, it sounds like something she would end up doing. Alright, it's basically her for the flats. I'll probably finish shading this tomorrow, so that way we have something else to work on. But yeah, thank you everybody for coming. I will stream again tomorrow, and yeah, I'll see you guys then. Okay, hopefully nothing comes up so I don't have to cancel like I have in of recent weeks. And I probably shouldn't have said that out loud. Oh well, tempting fate here. Anyway, anyway, you guys have a good day or good night, day night, whatever time you're on. And I will see you guys later, alright? Take care. Bye bye.